Welcome back to the final night of LiONS LAIR 2020. My name is David Carter. I'm the Executive Director of the Innovation Factory. My co-host tonight is Sasha Babak. He's a partner at Gowling WLG's Hamilton office. Sasha works with private sector clients of all sizes in respect of all aspects of corporate and commercial law, with an emphasis on mergers and acquisitions, corporate organization and restructuring, private equity and financing. So this is really relevant to all of our startups. Welcome, Sasha.
Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here.
So before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the competition. And it's a story I've told over and over again, but when I first saw LiONS LAIR and all the effort that went into it, I was going to pull the plug on it. It was after seeing that first year and seeing how the city gets engaged, how our partners get engaged, how much these companies learn along the way. And what we're seeing now is really just the culmination of that. So it's not the pitch competition, it's the 3 months that have led up to that. So they get mentor training, all kinds of great things. But tonight, one of them is actually going to walk away with even more. They're going to walk away with $30,000 as part of our grand prize. Before we get started, I want to re-thank everybody, because it takes a village to raise a pitch competition, and we've got it. We have, first of all, our pillar of business partners. So that is our friends at Gowling WLG, KPMG, Jan Kelly, Meridian Credit Union. We have our investor lions, Karen Grant, Dominic Talala, Stuart Weldon. We have our partners, the City of Hamilton Economic Development Department, McMaster University, McMaster Innovation Park, Cogeco, BarterPay, the Hamilton Business Center, the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, who started LiONS LAIR way back in the early days, and our friends at Cable 14, who have helped us broadcast this and make us look pro every year. This year we got even more help from our friends at Greeny Media, who helped us build out this virtual desk so we could do all of this while respecting social distancing, merged together through the miracle of online technology. CHML has been a great partner, and all 16 of the finalists were interviewed by Bill Kelly already. And tomorrow on CHML's show with Bill Kelly at 9 a.m., we're going to have all things LiONS LAIR. They're going to talk to the winners and talk to some of the different people involved in LiONS LAIR. So we've got a great show. Tonight, we're going to find out how the audience voted. So the audience voted for our People's Choice Award. That's actually going to be revealed at the after party. And if you're not registered, make sure you come to the after party right after this event. During the show today, we're going to announce the winner of the $30,000 grand prize. It's a big night ahead. Sasha, thanks for coming tonight. Gowling's been with us from the beginning, and you actually interviewed all 16 of our finalists. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Thank you, Dave. So we put together a scorecard at the outset of this process, and I think it's important to remember that the scorecard it's not a legal readiness checklist that's going to apply to every single LiONS, every single competitor. These are distinct companies operating in distinct markets, and they're all at different stages of their business life cycle. So we were trying to be mindful of that as we went through and evaluated their legal readiness. At the end of the day, what we just wanted to see was whether or not these specific competitors, based on where they are in their life cycle, whether they've taken the steps that we felt were necessary based on their unique circumstances to prepare to scale up their businesses and to appeal to investors. I think investors want to see confidence, they want to see sound corporate structures, they want to see that you've turned your mind to your important assets such as IP, they want to see that you've turned your mind to risk mitigation. So depending on those certain circumstances, that's what's going to determine your legal readiness and whether you're ready to scale up your business and look for that first Series A financing that every startup is dreaming of.
That's so important, right? So all these companies that have, the first job was building the product and getting customers, but there's all kinds of liabilities that could come with that as they go to sell abroad or if they go to do something that infringes on someone else's legal rights, exactly. Whether that's IP or not. So, independent of what happens to everybody tonight, this has been an invaluable process for all of them, and leaving with this advice that they got as part of it is just been super helpful for all of our companies. So thanks again.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, so while we're on the scorecard, let's talk about that again, because everybody during their pitch referred to their scorecard. So the pillars of business, just as a reminder, scored them on legal readiness, business readiness from our partners at KPMG, and growth readiness from our partners at Jan Kelly. And that was a really important part of it. If you're just joining us and you don't understand where we're at, let me recap on what's happened here. So September 21st and 22nd, we saw all 16 pitches. We narrowed that down to a field of 8. And then on September 23rd, we had our quarterfinals, and that final field of 8 pitched again. We showed you some new questions that you hadn't seen before from our investor lions, Karen, Stuart, and Dominic, who helped us understand things that were concerning for their businesses. After those pitches that night, those lions regrouped, and they've narrowed it down to 4, and that's actually where we are tonight. So you can participate as part of this. Sasha, why don't you talk about how they can participate?
Sure. We have a tremendous group of competitors here who many of you have been following on social media all week. We would encourage you to continue to do so utilizing the hashtag LiONS LAIR 2020. Be sure to follow us on whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and use that hashtag, and you will be entered into a draw to win a $100 Amazon gift card.
If you missed any of the pitches, you can go back to lionsLair.ca and watch any of those pitches, either for fun, maybe because you're interested in their businesses, or maybe you want to share it with somebody, so that would be great. While you're there on lionsLair.ca, register for the after party where you get to actually live mingle online with the partners, the judges, the pillars of business, the contestants, everybody that had anything to do with this event. Okay, so we're down to our final 4, and we're going to find out who those are in just a couple of minutes. Before we do, I want to reintroduce you to our investor lines so we can find out a bit more about them. Karen Grant is the interim CEO of Equation Angels, the second largest angel investor network in Canada, and serves as the director on several boards. Karen has founded companies, launched investment funds, and has worked in the commercialization field for over 25 years. Dominic Talala is a managing partner at Trellis Capital Corp and Dash 40 Ventures, venture capital firms investing in technology companies, and is the CEO of Daytech Coating Corporation, a materials technology company. He is also director on the boards of several portfolio companies and publicly funded organizations and institutions. Stuart Weldon, along with his wife, own and operate the Red Church Cafe and Gallery in Hamilton off of Gore Park. Stuart is the former vice president of Eloqua and founder of Caribou Craft Beer, which he sold in May of 2019. He is now the CEO of Junction Craft Brewing. So thanks again to Karen, Dominic, and Stuart, our investor lines, for their expertise. What about it, Sasha? Are you ready?
Can't wait to find out who the final 4 are, Dave.
Okay, let's find out who they are. Okay, wow, that is your final 4. Sasha, what do you think?
Can't say I'm surprised to see them there. These guys all checked off a number of the important columns on the scorecard, and they were, we had 16 very capable competitors who are primed for success, but these ones were just a little bit ahead of the curve here in terms of their readiness to go to market.
Yeah, I totally agree. Something I always like to say, though, is in real life, none of these guys are competitors. We put them in this artificial environment, have them pitch. In real world, they all go back tomorrow and they go selling to their individual markets, and each one of them has a chance to be successful in real life. So this is a fun event, really, with all the coaching and your scorecards and everything. Everybody's a winner here tonight. One of them is going to be a bigger winner and leave with $30,000, though. So I guess we're ready. Let's go to our first matchup.
Shopping for paint sucks. Think of the last time you went to paint a room. You had an idea, a vision. You were excited. Painting often comes as part of a life event. A new home, first place together, a baby. Everything is great until you go to get the paint. It's Saturday. The store is busy, the staff are busy, or not even around. You're standing in front of thousands of colors, wondering what color is right for me. There's got to be a better way. Digby Paints, Canada's first and only online paint store. Digby offers an expert curated palette of 60 colors, wall paint for walls, trim paint for trim, and all the quality tools you need to complete the job. And throughout the process, you have a paint calculator, a color visualizer, step-by-step instructions, live chat with access to design support, and much, much more. And all of this comes from the comfort of your home as Digby's delivered to your door. Like other direct-to-consumer brands, Digby is focused on simplicity and quality over a surplus of choice. The Canadian do-it-yourself paint market is a $700 million business. The GTHA, which is Digby's first market, is $220 million. The paint industry is a long-established one. Why is it still bricks and mortar? It's an innovator's dilemma. Quite simply, the industry can't afford to disrupt the existing distribution channels, and they haven't found a compelling e-commerce platform. Quite simply, they're caught up in the traditional method of in-person only color selection and product support. E-commerce will represent 9% of retail sales this year, and it's on pace to grow at 12% per year over the next 4 years. The time for an online paint solution is now, and Digby is well positioned to lead the transition. We're targeting existing online shoppers who are tech savvy, do-it-yourselfers, and they're looking for a compelling experience like what they'll find on digbypaints.com. We started in January of 2020, and we've shipped over 1,200 orders so far, with over 90% of our customers giving us 5-star reviews. We have a positive return on ad spend, and we're well positioned to keep going. We're located right here in Hamilton, Ontario, and we've just recently entered into a partnership to expand our color technology. This is an important part of our user experience, and it will further enhance the experience that the customer has and disrupt the market that's already just a bricks and mortar business. We're a lean and experienced team at Digby. We have extensive experience in retail, paint, communications, and digital marketing, as well as color design. With all of our experience, we're well positioned to continue the disruption. We scored excellent in the LiONS LAIR meetings earlier in the competition, and we found this to be an excellent exchange of insights and knowledge, and we've already started to implement some of the discussion points that came out of the meetings. As an example, we're already further expanding our brand journey and our customer acquisition process. Winning LiONS LAIR would allow Digby to expand into our technology now to help us to further disrupt the business and to continue to improve our user experience and gain more customers. All of this is happening in Hamilton right now. Take into consideration what I've told you as you check us out at digbypaints.com, paint that delivers.
Jill, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thanks.
Interesting opportunity for sure. First question is around value for the customer. How does it compare? So if I were to go to Home Depot or Lowe's and pick out all of the components, get my paint, bring it back, versus ordering online from you, what's the price difference? Do I pay a premium with you? Is it slightly less expensive?
It's a good question. So what we're doing is we have a premium paint at $59, and our tools are priced to be in the market, never above, maybe slightly below. So when we put the kit together, we made a value proposition in that. So it's a $30 kit. Regular retail could be $40 to $50 depending on the retailer. And so the paint is always a hard thing for a customer to understand because it's just cans of stuff. So whether it's a $25 can of paint or a $100 can of paint, I always say that the difference is what goes into the can. And so there's that part of it. So we put a lot into the can. So as I said, it compares to some $75 paints in the market. When we set out to spec what the paint would be, it needed to be a product that would be forgiving of unskilled painters. And so it needed to have some quality attributes that would help a great painter as well as a novice painter to do a great job, because that's really the most important part of what we're doing. So in answer to your question, you end up ahead because you haven't had to leave your house, you haven't had to start your car, and you end up with a premium product at a great price.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My company is Biosa Technologies, and I'm Dr. Nick Lidra. My company really began in 2017 when my mom suffered a terrible brain hemorrhage. Later that year, she came home, and she was supported by personal support workers. However, we found out that these personal support workers were transmitting infection back and forth, and they were having to reuse their PPE, gloves and masks. So we identified two major problems. First, that there was a lack of efficacy in the PPE, and second, there was a lack of PPE raw materials. So thus, we created Biosa Next Generation Antiviral Materials for PPE. So our solution are twofold. First, an antiviral coating that can be coated directly onto PPE, sprayed on. And the second is antiviral raw materials that can be non-woven and then finished by another manufacturer. Our value proposition is we provide military-grade PPE that's non-toxic, antimicrobial, made in Canada and at a low cost. Our primary market is medical grade, hospitals and dentists. Included in that is also the military, and then the consumer-grade PPE for the general public. Our traction began in 2018 when we secured a contract with the Canadian Department of Defense. They liked our product so much that they recommended us to the Canadian Navy, and we garnered $425,000 in revenue. Going towards COVID-19, we successfully integrated into the supply chain, and right now we're partnering with existing manufacturers to have an ongoing revenue of $30,000 per month. Our team is myself and my VP of Finance, VP of Operations, as well as scientific staff and logistics. If we were to win LiONS LAIR, we would help to speed up going to market, so increase of manufacturing, as well as growth and expansion. We scored excellent on all 3 of our LiONS LAIR business scores, and the feedback we used from those interviews we put back into this presentation to help us out. Once again, thank you very much. I'm Dr. Nick Lidra, and my company is Biosa Technologies.
Thank you very much for joining us today and for your presentation. And can you tell me who it is that you want to sell to and what your go-to-market strategy is?
Okay. So yeah, in terms of PPE, we're looking at the larger companies such as 3M, Medicom, the companies that are producing the ready finished product in Canada. And we've gotten a lot of good reception and actually letters of intent from these types of manufacturers already.
So that's the letter of intent that was in your records.
That's correct,
right.
Yes. So these are we're leveraging that now to be able to ramp up our operations and our sales and manufacturing at the moment.
So that's PPE, but you've got this whole anti-fouling opportunity as well.
Yes.
And I know that there are needs all over the world. So
yes.
How are you going to leverage that? Because I think that's a stream you shouldn't lose sight of.
Yeah. So right now we're in the towards the end of the phase 1 of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So after the completion.
So they're running you through the testing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we can engage with primarily with, for example, NATO allies, and then going around the world.
Scandinavia.
Yes. So yeah, I know Hempel and all those big companies that are interested in those types of technology. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's 2 down, and we still have 2 to go. Before we get to that, I want to talk to my co-host and ask him a few questions. Sasha, you've been around, you've seen some of the pitfalls that these companies can fall into. Maybe give us some advice or tell us what you've seen in terms of some of these pitfalls.
Sure. From a corporate perspective, I think one of the important things that we want to see within governance structures is individuals who know what they know, but also know what they don't know. I think it's really important for people to realize that they can't do everything and they're not expected to do everything. You want to see a governance team that is identifying gaps in its skill set, looking to fill those gaps with other professionals and advisors to ensure that they are growing out their business in a collaborative way with complementary skill sets, rather than trying to do everything on their own.
Right, totally agree. We talk about coachability of clients. They have to grow a lot, so I like how you said it, they have to know what they don't know and figure out how they're going to fill those gaps. If you're anywhere in Hamilton, or have been at every event, Gowling WLG seems to come up as a name. In fact, even on my drive in, I see the big sign, future home of Gowling WLG. Maybe talk about what's happening here in Hamilton and right next door.
Sure. We've been working with McMaster and the McMaster Innovation Park for many, many years. It's the first file, in fact, I ever worked on as a lawyer way back when.
And we're still here, so good news.
Yeah, on the incorporation of MIP. This is the heart of innovation. This is where MIP 2.0 is really looking to grow and bring businesses to Hamilton. We see a tremendous opportunity here to work with the city, work with the university, work with McMaster Innovation Park and other key institutions in the city collaboratively for our collective benefit to try and bring business to Hamilton, help grow the local economy, but while also connecting it to the world through our network across our various offices in various countries.
Yeah, I think that's such a big important piece of it, right? You have this network that is way beyond Hamilton. It's all around the world. And then you have an intimate knowledge of what's going on here in Hamilton, and you can help make those connections. So we've got startups and big customers and researchers and all those people happening right here at McMaster Innovation Park. And it's really, I think we've created this great environment to thrive. Okay, so we've got a great environment to thrive. Who's going to thrive and win the $30,000? We still have one more matchup to hear from. So let's go to our next matchup.
On January 23, 2017, Saudi Aramco experienced a cyber attack which has left the company with $20 million worth of damage. After the investigations, the company has found out that the entry point of the cyber attack is actually coming from an IoT device on site. With more and more smart devices and critical infrastructure are connecting to the internet, we're seeing an unprecedented increase in both the severity and frequency of cyber attacks. My name is Owen. I'm the co-founder at BData. And at BData, we provide the world's first blockchain-secure SIM card and gateway devices to fend off cyber attacks on critical infrastructure and IoT-enabled smart devices. Our BIoT device, also known as a blockchain-enabled Internet of Things device, is inheriting many characteristics from blockchains, which protects the network and data in two ways. First, the data stored in our blockchain is immutable, which means it is tamper-proof and the attacker cannot install any unwanted software in our blockchain or IoT devices. Second, the data stored in our blockchain is decentralized and distributed, which means the attacker cannot scale up their attacks. We're currently targeting the global cybersecurity market, which is at $156 billion in 2019. We're planning to go into the market with two products. Our BIoT SIM card, which is ready to integrate it with smart devices such as drones and autonomous vehicles. And our BIoT gateway device is ready to fend off cyber attacks on industries such as oil and gas and infrastructures. We're planning to sell to our end customers through our telecom partnerships, such as TELUS. And so far, we have attracted many international attentions. We have formed business partners with companies like TELUS, Tech Mahindra, Saudi Aramco, and City of Hamilton. So far, we have achieved many milestones from the journey. We have created the first MVP. We have filed our BIoT patent applications. We have conducted many use cases. We formed a partnership with TELUS. And today we're asking to raise $30,000 in order to create the first 100 product to ship it to our most needed customers. And we have achieved excellence in all three pillars according to LiONS LAIR Business Score. We have learned a lot from both the LiONS and from the competitions. For example, we have learned that the financial sustainability, growth scalability, and legal sustainability are three most important factors playing into the success of a business. Our team consists of professionals coming from different industries. All of us graduated from accredited universities and colleges, and all of us has more than 10 years of work experience. I would like to thank you for watching, and our founder, Syed Bari, will be able to take your questions.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that presentation. It's a very big topic, really big topic. So what first opportunity are you going to go after?
Yeah, so our first opportunity that we are going after is partnering with the telecom companies. For example, as I mentioned, we are partnering with TELUS to embed our blockchain in their SIM card, and that's a highly scalable product, right? The SIM card can go into the drone, SIM card go into the gateway device, can go into the health and sciences devices, and it has a high scalability. So that's our focus, and we have been doing great with them. We have already tested our solution on their network, and we are going to scale up with them.
So that's good news, bad news. Mouse and elephant kind of jumps to mind. Does developing such a close relationship with TELUS at this early stage in your company limit you from developing similar relationships with other telecom players?
No, so we don't have kind of like dedicated relationship with TELUS. It's an open relationship in terms that TELUS will help us to scale up in the Canadian markets, and they are more major in this. But we are also talking to STC in Saudi Arabia and Etisalat in Middle East and Singtel in Singapore to deploy the similar technology in their network, so it can be scaled up to the millions of customers in that region.
So it would be fair for me to assume that TELUS is probably your partner in Canada.
That's right.
So in that way, it does kind of limit you a little bit, but again, the rest of the world is left open to you.
That's right.
Okay, that's great.
Hi, I'm Ingrid, CEO of Integral Health, and we created a smart assistant called Unity OR to improve surgical care. Surgery is expensive. Every minute can cost anywhere between $35 to $190, depending on case complexity. Every minute is also a chance for human error. On average, about 8 miscommunications occur in every surgery. 5 lead to time or resource waste, and the other 3 visible consequence to the patient. $22 billion are lost every year because of this problem. For a mid-sized hospital, that's about 10 to 15 million, or 30,000 per day. But these errors are preventable, and that's where our solution comes in. Unity OR is a smart assistant for surgery. With Unity OR, surgical staff can manage their workflow, communicate with each other, and annotate the surgery in real time. The goal is to create unity across the surgical team so that they can deliver safer and faster care to their patients. That's why our product is called Unity OR. Our revenue will come from a yearly license fee for our software and hardware costs needed to retrofit operating rooms. In the future, we will run data analytics so we can understand the actions that improve surgical performance and reduce costs for the hospital even more. With our technology, we can create a new market of at least $120 million in Canada and potentially grow this market to nearly $9 billion across North America. Competitors provide static checklists for individual members of the surgical team. Also, these checklists are the steps that the surgeon founders of these companies like to take in their surgery. We are the only solution to offer dynamic, team-centric reminders, and we took an unbiased approach to create Unity OR. We spoke with more than 50 surgical staff, and we've run 18 virtual trials. Next, we're testing Unity OR in 5 simulation centers at 5 hospitals in Toronto. These simulation and research studies are essential for us to form partnerships with these hospitals so that we can get our first sale. From there, we'll expand to Hamilton Health Sciences and Trillium because they're part of the Can Health network of 10 hospital systems across Canada. Our co-founding team are PhD students in medical sciences, and we have software development background. We also have a strong team of surgeons and other medical staff, business people, and engineers who support us in creating Unity OR. Finally, in our meetings with the LiONS, we realized that we did a great job on product, but we were lacking in in business development. So we went out and we spoke with more than 100 people, and this greatly accelerated our execution speed. We actually reached simulation trials 2 months ahead of our timeline. And that's where LiONS LAIR comes in. If we win the grand prize, we will double the investment with OCE matching funds, so that way we can provide enough funding for all 5 of our simulation trials. Thank you for your attention, and also thank you, Innovation Factory, for inviting us to pitch here today.
Great presentation, Ingrid. Very interesting opportunity for sure. Have you thought about where this fits in a hospital's priority for new purchases?
Yes. So right now, the main priority for hospitals is obviously COVID because of to prevent the spread and to treat the patients. But in terms of surgery, there's a lot of challenges that they're having. So surgery was shut down, more or less shut down, non-elective cases. And now there's been a backlog in Ontario of about, I think, 148,000 cases. Ontario performs 300,000 cases per year, so about half of them are postponed or canceled. And asking around, I asked what the plan was for the second wave, how surgery is going to handle that, and they said shut down again. And just stopping care, I don't think is the best solution here. So they're looking for new technology to be able to address the backlog and also to function under COVID restrictions, which is making it even hard to communicate and work together during the surgery.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, that was the last of our pitches. So we've seen them all, and what's going to happen now is we're going to decide who won of that group of 4 and ultimately who takes home the $30,000. So while they're figuring that out and preparing things, I'm going to go back to our co-host again. Sasha, we talked about corporate governance, obviously hugely important. The other thing I hear a lot about is intellectual property, and with respect to all 16 companies, maybe talk about the importance of that.
Sure. Now, I'm not an intellectual property lawyer, but fortunately I have a talented team that I can refer to here in Hamilton for any questions, whether it be around patents, trademarks, copyright. I think it's important to realize that intellectual property is so much more than just patenting a technology, which I think many startups and tech companies think of. You have to think about protecting your brand as well, whether through copyrights, business name registrations. But at the end of the day, if you are a tech-focused company and you have a unique technology that's proprietary, you do want to focus on whether and look at whether or not it's patentable, or whether or not you need to protect it through trade secrets and other like mechanisms. So it is an important aspect to protect your key asset. But honestly, Dave, I think they've heard enough about me, and we've got some very eager competitors out there wanting to hear some more results.
Absolutely. In fact, I will point out the very first winner of LiONS LAIR, Weaver Apps, just before they got one of their big rounds of investments, it was their whole patent portfolio that helped them out in that. So you want to find out who the winners of this year and who's going to take away the $30,000. Well, before we tell you, I'd like to show you a little bit of the hard work that goes into making LiONS LAIR, especially this year. So before we get to our winners, let's do maybe a little behind the scenes. Okay, so you got an idea of the magic that went on behind the scenes to pull off LiONS LAIR 2020 COVID-19 edition. Thanks again to our friends at Greening Media. Sasha, you ready to see who made the final two?
Let's do it.
Let's go and see who our final two are. So there you have it, our final two. And before we tell you who our grand prize winner is, let's remind you who brought us here today. So we have, first of all, our pillars of business, Gowling WLG, KPMG, Jan Kelly, Meridian Credit Union. We have all the partners, City of Hamilton Economic Development, McMaster University, McMaster Innovation Park, Cogeco, BarterPay, the Hamilton Business Center, the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, Cable 14. We have our friends at Greening that help make this magic work. And tomorrow we have our friend Bill Kelly on CHML, who's going to recap this whole thing. Sasha, are you ready?
I can't wait to find out who
I'm
won.
tingly. So now we're going to find out who's the final winner of the $30,000.
Wow, this is really great. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who supported us along the way. And the LiONS LAIR competition was a really fantastic experience for Digby Paints. Thank you.
Wow, congratulations to our winner and all of our finalists. Everybody's getting a Hamilton Chamber of Commerce membership. Now you can go visit us at the after party. So this is your last chance to register for the after party. So go to lionsLair.ca and register. Check your inbox for details. It'll tell you how to get there, because at the after party, we're going to announce the People's Choice Award. Just before we go there, I want to thank everybody again. Our investor lions, Karen Grant, Stuart Weldon, Dominic Talala. Our pillar of business lions, so we had KPMG, Jan Kelly, and of course Gowling WLG. Go to LionsLair.ca to see those pitches, to share these amazing companies. I want to thank everybody in the viewing audience for making this especially difficult LiONS LAIR a successful one. I think the village we have around us is going to help create some amazing companies. And a big thanks to my co-host this evening, Sasha from Gowling WLG. Sasha, it's been a pleasure. Thanks,
Dave.
It's been a great night. Everybody, drive safely, wash your hands, don't touch your face. We'll see you again next year. Thanks.